All right, guys, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. This is the goals episode. We do this every year. Check in on last year's goals, talk about next year's goals, and then this year we're going to include some of your goals from the Clubhouse community. But before we do any of that, Mike, I got to check in with you here.
Uh-oh.
This video you posted the other day. I mean, maybe this is your goal, is to
one is this
get
now?
a little more height on your vertical.
Oh,
but,
the vertical jump. Okay, here it
your,
comes, guys.
Your 12-foot
Yeah.
vertical jump. Do we got a graphic of this that we can show here, Zach? There it is. 12-foot jump.
I made a mistake, guys.
3 attempts.
All right, and I even had a calculator.
Casually saying he's jumping 11 feet 5 inches.
What was your comment?
11,
a
8.
basketball hoop is 10 feet. Better double check your math, Rain Man. I love it. There's Frank calling me out. And you know what? As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, no. Because I was so sure that was a 12. I even Google searched it. I was like, I had a calculator. I was writing it down. It was called a 12-foot vertical leap apparatus.
Yeah, the pole.
The pole.
Yeah.
But you were telling me that they didn't have it up to 12 feet.
Right.
They?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it'll go to 12 feet for,
I thought I was jumping
your
12 feet,
actual
guys.
athletes.
11-8.
For the actual athletes out
And then
there.
Frank has to just totally tear me down with, hey, the basketball hoop is 10. So, which I can't reach. So I really only jumped in that video, would you say, about 8.5 feet?
I think if you got, I'll
9.
give you 9. I'll give you 9. Yeah, we're looking at this thing, and I'm like, that's the max of the capacity of this. That was back when we went to, we were out in Connecticut at the Golf Performance Center,
yep.
and that's one of the things that they work on is that, and I know you had to try it, but yeah, I'm thinking about this. I'm like, well, if Mike is like, 5'9", right? Something like that.
5'7". Thanks,
5'7".
Appreciate that.
Okay, so Mike's
almost
5'7".
Hey, let's go 5'8".
And I'm trying to think, like, so you're telling me this guy's getting his feet 4 feet off the ground? I mean, you'd be setting world records at that point.
Be from a stationary.
I think I even Googled it. I think the world record is something like 47 or 48 inches vertical. The guy got 48 inches vertical.
Oh man.
Okay, so yeah.
So
I mean, I couldn't start the show without.
No, I appreciate that, and I part of me wanted to delete it, but I was like, you know what? Let's just have some fun with this.
No, if nothing else, the comments are where the fun is.
They are.
The comments are where the fun is.
Rip me as much as you need.
Exactly. So we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna also talk about Kapalua, which
Big
by
week.
the way,
that's right.
We talk about this every time about why we love Hawaii golf so much, the Hawaii swing, but even more so because living vicariously and getting to watch some of this, because what we've got in front of us today is the exact
opposite.
I mean, not, excuse the pun, but a polar opposite here. Because Zach, can you bring up the weather? We're going to be playing golf immediately after this episode. We're playing around.
Let's see what we got here.
And here's your forecast right now.
We tee off at 1 o'clock, though.
Hey, we dip above freezing for a moment.
We dip above freezing for a moment. But I like that sunny.
Yeah, and that's not factoring the wind chill. But we said it before, and we'll say it again. If there's no snow on the ground, we keep playing golf.
Yeah, why not?
So,
but Atlantic City got a lot. I saw Atlantic City Country Club post the other day. They got a ton of snow. It looked like a blizzard.
Yeah.
Like big time.
And
they're 2 hours south.
They're south of us.
So, I mean, it's any day.
Well, we know it's coming. I looked at the forecast further out. Friday, we're supposed to get some snow here, so we're gonna get out there and play as much as we can. We're gonna do a fun 9-hole match. We actually did a nice 9-hole match just a couple days ago where we played with the 3-club challenge again.
That was fun. But I'm more excited
those.
about this one because it's full bag, no gimmicks, just straight up golf, heads up.
Right.
Bring it,
but
bring it,
every
bro,
once in
bring
a
it.
while, like I've talked about this before. I'm like, I'm a big fan of these push you out of your comfort zone. You know, this will tie in. We'll talk about the goals, but like, I think when you get out there and you play, let's say it's a 3-club challenge, I end up having to hit shots that I've never hit before, and I learned something. Like I was practicing chipping with my 9-iron. Like I chip everything with my 52, and I'm practicing with my 9-iron, and all of a sudden I'm like, hey, this is working out pretty well. It's like by reducing the number of clubs, I end up adding more shots to my bag. I was thinking.
I'm the opposite, but go ahead.
Well, thinking about it, it's like training, like jogging with weights on your legs, or something like that. And then all of a sudden, when you've got all your sticks again, game feels a little bit easier.
Right. I mean, I honestly, on the flip, it's cool. The challenges are fun. Don't get me wrong. I think they're great. I enjoy doing them. But like, I don't enjoy a 3-club challenge when I'm making a 9 on a hole. Like my confidence on these three, they go way down the hill. I feel like I don't learn as much. Like you're saying, like you try to adapt with like a 4-iron, hitting it out of a bunker or something like that. Yeah. And that's great. But I'm sculling it. I'm making a 9 in my head. I'm hanging my head. Now I'm getting frustrated with my golf game. But
well, then you'll be very happy to have all your clubs back today.
Let's see if it helps.
But like I talk about in the video, I said about like the inspiration largely came from to thinking about guys like Seve and Jason Day who learned the game with like one club, and then later in life how it paid dividends for them because they're so versatile of golfers.
Right.
For that reason, you know, and just there's certain spots like I had a greenside bunker. I mean, it didn't work as well as I wanted it to, but it was close. I ended up putting it out. I'm trying to think like what would Seve do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not gonna be able to splash it with my 9-iron. There was water on the other side of the hole, so if I got a little bit too much at all, I could go roll off the other side of the green and go in the water. So I'm like, let's try something new here. And now, like, even when I do have all the clubs and all those options, I can like remember that and be like, hey, I could also try this.
That's
Just because I have all my clubs doesn't mean I can't get a little bit weird.
You
out
could
there.
get weird out there.
Could get a little weird. Yeah.
You know, if you're into that. But it should be fun today. I mean,
listen, we can't all jump 12 feet in the air.
I know, exactly. You can't. All right, only I can. And by the way, now that we're going to be doing a lot more chat, we put something on our YouTube channel. And if you're not subscribed, guys, go, because we're going to be doing lots of heads-up matches, which I'm excited about.
Yeah.
And are you going to be calling me out if I have more than 14 clubs in the bag now?
I have to call you out every time.
I got 6 wedges sometimes. But that's because we're doing some fun challenges out there. So now I have to make sure, like today, that I have 14 in there. I don't want to get called out.
I got a new something floating around the bag right now. I got that what's it called? Now all of a sudden I don't remember. With the blue like whippy shaft.
Oh, the lag.
The lag shot. The lag shot, right? Yeah. So we tried it with Kevin Sprecher, and I liked it. And I had they messaged me on Instagram when they saw the video I posted, and they offered to send me one. I'm like, yeah, send me one of these things. I legit like this as a training aid. It's also fun when we do our challenges
It's really
to hit
fun.
something different.
It's like that floppy.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, we can even dig into this a little bit when we get into the goals, and we're going to be working. Another thing we're doing big on the channel was going to be and this is on the Golficity main channel, is working with coaches again a little bit more. And we're going to be working with Ryan Hager. And this is something I want to work on with him. One of my biggest problems when it comes to consistency in my golf game is sequencing. And I end up getting a little fast at the top. My hands get started before the body, so I'm not in sequence. So what this lag shot has been helping me do, because it's so whippy, is been working on my rhythm and pace, but also just like getting a little bit better sequence where you get to the top and you can feel that thing kind of whipping.
Yeah.
And it just gives me a little bit of a better pause at the top, and then I get started with my lower body first. This is even something we worked on with Game Like Training with
that's right.
Zach and those guys. Mm-hmm. It's like they had me working with rubber bands at the time. So I threw it in the bag as like something just to warm up for my round with. And you don't even have to hit a ball with it. You can just kind of like swing it and just kind of get that feel.
Yeah.
It's very similar to what I did with my orange whip. I've always had the orange whip in there. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out this season. I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Those things are pretty cool. You're going to need it today because I don't know if you're going to be hitting range balls.
I know.
I don't know if you're going to. I mean, I should hit range balls.
It's going to feel like hitting rocks today. How cold it's going to be out there. But let's talk about the other side of the spectrum. You got the Century this week.
Yep.
Tournament of Champions.
And I feel like this is like really the true kickoff. Like we had 10 events in the fall season, including the Hero.
I never think of those as the beginning of the season.
No.
I always think of the fall season as the end of the
It's almost like a bonus season.
It's like a wind down.
Yeah.
But it all counts towards...
It all counts.
All the points count towards the next year.
It kind of felt like the PNC was the start of the season this year, at least. There was so much hype around it
right, with Tiger.
I really thought that the PNC kind of kicked the season off and got people back excited about golf again.
Yeah, it does. But the only thing with the PNC is then it goes back to bed for 2-3 weeks while we have the holidays.
Which like everything does.
Yeah.
For the most
But then
part.
now like we got Hawaii and it just rolls now.
Yeah, we don't stop.
No stop.
We don't stop.
No
Was it
stop.
like 43 weeks in a row.
Right.
I think it's one of the
grueling for
hardest
these guys.
sports schedules out there in any game.
No doubt, especially when you
With all the
think
travel.
about the fall season that they put in. These guys legitimately, especially the guys who are not the big names on tour, the guys who have to be playing every week in order to keep their tour card and try to be in those FedEx Cup points. Those are a lot of the guys who are playing in the fall season. Although the fall season is getting more popular, seeing bigger and bigger names competing in some of those events. But you're talking about guys who are essentially playing almost every week from January until late October.
Well, let me pause you right there and let me throw this at you. Who do you think has a more grueling schedule, an MLB player or a PGA Tour golfer? 162 games a year. Sometimes you're playing 15 nights in a row, 9 innings.
Yeah.
On the PGA Tour, you could pick and choose your events. I'm not saying that it's easier,
right?
But it's tough to think about because those guys and they have a short season too because they're right back in training camp in February.
Yeah, but
they're year round.
I'd still argue that in a lot of ways it's golf because there are no like home stretches.
That's
like
true.
let's say you live in
the
Florida,
World Series. Okay,
right? You live in Florida. You may have a couple events that, like 3 events in the season that are around you, but otherwise you're traveling every week.
pretty much every week.
Right. And then if you think about all their commitments between practice rounds and pro-ams, realistically, I mean, that debunks the idea of playing every day because they really are playing every day.
Right.
We see them Thursday through Sunday, unless they get cut. Then there's a couple days rest.
Right. Exactly.
But oftentimes they'll parlay that into going to the next event even sooner. But most of these guys, let's say you don't get cut. You're playing your Tuesday practice round. You're playing your Wednesday pro-am, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Back on a plane, back somewhere on Monday.
Right.
Yeah.
And then every week it's somewhere different.
But you could have a week off.
You could have a week
Whereas
off.
you can only have a week off if you're an MLB player if you didn't make the All-Star team. Think about that.
Right.
You know,
right.
so-
yeah, I mean, hey.
I don't know.
MLB players, they're
It's a lot of travel.
They're not doing as much though as golfers. Golfers are walking 18 4 times if they make it.
That's true. I mean, these guys are taking
days.
BP, fielding some grounders. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's
mean-
not easy work. They're standing
You're
up at a
slippery
plate.
slope to making this sound. real
Sorry, I'm
too
saying
easy.
I will never be standing at a home plate
You
with
know
a
what this
100
is?
mile per hour fastball. So
This is George Costanza teaching Bernie Williams how to hit.
Exactly.
Derek Jeter. Do you remember
it was
that?
Danny Tartable.
Oh, was it?
Yep.
Like this guy, the Seinfeld
Oh
knowledge.
no, you're right.
No,
it was
it was Bernie.
and Derek were in one, but I think he said he gave Tartable swing tips or something.
Right, but this is the one where he was actually taking BP and he was teaching them how to
You're
hit
right,
when he
you're
was
right.
smart. Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Yeah. Yes, when he
Yeah.
was smart.
Anyway, so okay, going back to Kapalua. First of all, yeah, Kapalua in general. I mean, it's just the plantation course, big time on my personal bucket list to get out there and play this thing.
Look at this
It's
place.
just gorgeous, and it's such a relief for like us here, especially living in the Northeast, and we look outside and everything is different shades of white and gray. That's all we've got right now, and there it's just beautiful. The water is the backdrop, and it makes for an interesting. To watch some of the play. Like you've got that par 5. Remember Bubba going driver,
Driver.
right? That downhill. It plays
Played that
usually.
huge fade
What is it?
Yeah, there it is right
500
there.
and
Look at it.
something yards. It plays.
with the fans right behind.
Yeah. It's I think in a lot of ways it's a great kickoff of the season. You always get a lot of the different apparel companies will do some sort of, limited edition release. In fact, that Aloha hat you see me wearing off, that's just Ohana hat. That's from last year. I still wear that all the time. Like you get that just, I don't know. It's weird. It's like, it's still serious competition, FedEx Cup points, but there's also just still that laid back Hawaii vibe that you just can't escape.
And it's one of those events where I think almost all the players in the field bring their families. It's more of a vacation week. Especially the guys who are going from Kapalua over to the Sony.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks in Hawaii. Guys like Justin Thomas.
Right.
But it's great because it's a small field. It's not one of these huge events.
Yeah, this week it's only the champions.
It's almost like an all-star game. In a
Right.
way,
So I think it's 60. I think there's about 60 guys in the field
if
this
that,
week.
is that many?
I believe it was somewhere around 60 guys. So because I'm not sure the exact. You guys can drop it in the comments if you know exactly what the qualifiers are. I don't know if it's just people who won last year, Tournament of Champions, but there's also, I'm sure, exemptions of people who have won the event itself
Yeah,
in
so
the
It's
past.
past winners plus winners from last year. So
Right.
past event winners of the century.
So that's why it's bigger than the number of just events last year.
Makes sense.
But the big one everyone's talking about is Phil. Phil being back.
Yeah.
Now, Phil has not played there since I think it was 2001.
Right, 2001.
But Phil, he's won on tour, so he's had an invitation.
He said, I think 13 invitations. Or
He's
something.
just turned it down.
Yep.
So the reasoning is pretty interesting. You saw
I
this?
saw his tweet.
Yeah, to pull up his tweet here. So, as you guys have probably heard, he won the PIP. But to get the second half of the money, he says he has to add an event he hasn't played in a while. So, see you in Kapalua.
With the kiss emoji.
Now, what was it? Do you remember, Zach, what the total one was?
8 million, right?
I think it was 8 to the winners.
And this is
6 to second
speculation.
place.
Okay, so let's
4
say it's
to
8,
third.
right? It's 8. And if he's saying to get the second half part of it, because they don't release all the details of this,
Right.
They haven't. There's a lot of this is speculation, and it's just leaks and hearsay. But we're talking about Phil just has to show up there and tee it off on the first hole for
You have
$4
to show
million
up to beautiful Kapalua and just play golf for $4 million.
for no brainer. It's like when they play that event out in Abu Dhabi where they pay
Yes,
them
where they
to
pay 'em.
play,
Yep.
and like other guys. So anyway, so can you imagine win, lose, or draw? Phil's showing up and teeing it off, and there's $4 million in the bank.
Businessman.
Someone's got to pay me $4 million to go play in Hawaii.
Seriously.
No,
know?
you've unlocked it. Whatever it is, the key to life, Phil, you've
Phil
figured
has
it
it.
out. You're playing and getting paid to play in Hawaii.
Do you think he was truly the needle mover over Tiger? Now, granted, I know Phil did a ton. He was active on Twitter. He won the PGA, but Tiger just blew up the internet with
But
one
we all
swing.
talked about with one swing. Tiger otherwise is not posting
He was also
much.
kind of absent.
Right. Phil, especially when he, things like the match and stuff like that, he just gets to talking. He gets other, you see like him and Tom Brady going back and forth. You get like other, sports interacting.
Yeah, but there's such a difference though, between Tiger and Phil personally, in my opinion. Like being the website editor.
Yeah.
The world shut down when Tiger came back. Phil's not sniffing that level of publicity being here 365. Even just 1 week, Tiger, still got second.
Well, that's what we're saying. Tiger only had to put out effectively 2 or 3 social media updates to get second place. Phil, I mean, he lives on, we said
it. Controversy too.
But what's so crazy about Phil, remember, Phil wasn't even on social for a while. He only joins like Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff within the last maybe 2 or 3 years. And we're all talking about it's the gift that just keeps giving since then.
Yep.
He's the true definition of being truly like on the platform. Like he'll respond to people.
Yep.
And it's just funny.
It is funny.
He's just a funny guy.
I think like PGA memes ripped him the other day. Did you see that post?
It
was the Tiger Woods photo of him in red.
Front of the tree, back of the tree. Yeah.
And then like he redid it for Tiger's calves versus Phil's calves.
Right. Yeah,
that was great. So that's Phil.
That's Phil. But otherwise, I mean, the field, it's strong.
Big names.
I think so. We're gonna see some good.
DeChambeau, 2 guys, by the way, Brooks and Bryson, who I thought I thought at least Bryson would be in the top 2 in that PIP or something. Just like all the noise they made, all of the controversy between the 2 of them, the match between the 2 of them. They were right up there though. I believe they were right up there in the top 5.
They were in the top 5. And then wasn't it Morikawa snuck in like at the very end with like a picture of his dog or something just to get some engagement?
No, Morikawa ended up being 11th, and they only pay out the top 10.
Oh man!
So I just remember somebody trying to get in under the wire 10, and they posted like a picture of their dog just for extra likes or whatever it was.
That's smart.
To try to make some money, but
that's great. Just some extra likes at the end of the year.
Yeah, whatever it takes. But either way, like I said, I mean, strong field, and I really want to see. We talk about what Bubba was doing, especially with that hole. Like, I want to see what DeChambeau does with his distance at Kapalua.
He could shorten this already short course, and I'm gonna pull up my sports book here, and I never bet. I'm not a big gambler, but like some of these events that have these like blown out odds, I'm like, why not?
Why not just throw a couple bucks on?
So I threw $10 on Mickelson. He's going off at 12,000. No, wait. 12. Hold on a second. I can't even get in now. Anyway, if I win, I get 11. I get $1,100.
So you put money on the only guy in the field who has really no incentive to win.
Exactly. And you know why? I think that's why he's going to win.
Yeah.
I think he's going to show up being like, I don't know why I'm here, and he's just going to go super low, and it's just going to be the Phil story this week.
Yeah. You never know.
I don't know.
Phil, no matter what, Phil has always in the conversation of a chance to win. You know what I mean? It's Phil. It's still Phil.
It's Phil.
But you've got, like I said, you've got some heavy hitters in the field this week, so it's going to be an exciting one to watch any way you shake it. Mm-hmm. Another thing we got to talk about, Tiger coming through with like the ultimate dad joke. Did you see his T-shirt?
I need it. Because that's like our life. You know, when you get to a certain age, here it is. Was it
straight out of ice bath?
Straight out of ice bath hoodie.
I
need that hoodie.
I mean,
because like in our lives right now, like I tell my kids right now, I said, do you see anything on the floor? I go, you have to pick it up because I can no longer pick it up. Because of you, my back is slowly starting to get worse every day. So like I feel that sweatshirt.
That's the sweatshirt like your dad picks you up from baseball practice in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just Tiger.
It's great.
Somehow though, Tiger still somehow makes it look cool.
It rings true because last night I took down Christmas, the entire tree, everything. I did it all. I just said, because it was on me. It was my idea. I said, I don't want this in the house anymore.
Yeah.
I go, it's the inevitable. I got to take it down. I took it down. My back started to seize up. Like I'm like, so I hopped right into a bath, jets. I just did it right away.
So the tree's on the floor.
Tree's on the floor.
It barely made it.
Barely made it. So that's what it made me think of. I need that sweatshirt.
Oh my God.
Straight out of ice bath, baby.
That's a weekend job, man. That's not a Monday night job.
Dude, I did it on a Monday night.
God bless you.
Seriously.
That's crazy.
Thank God it was a fake tree.
Okay. It was a fake tree.
Well, there was ornaments and stuff. Come on.
Because with the real tree, you take that thing down, and then the needles are everywhere, and then it's the vacuum job afterwards.
No, I didn't have any of that.
Moving on. Mm-hmm. This is why we like Kapalua. We watch golf after that. Yes. Sit on the couch at the end of the day, you put the kids to bed,
And what time does it go on? Like it usually runs all night, like 11 o'clock. It's there. They're still playing.
Yeah, because here in New York, I believe they're 5 hours behind us, right?
8 hours.
Is it?
What's this?
It might be 6. It might be 6. I'm trying to think.
6.
Because it's got to be 6. Yeah, because you've got
6 hours behind.
To California, and then you got 2 more time zones, right?
California's 5. California's 3.
California's 4 hours behind us, and then we've got
California's not 4 hours behind us. 3 hours.
Hawaii is currently 5:30 in the morning.
5:30 in the morning. We're
and
recording 10
California,
so we're 7
California
hours.
is 3 hours.
Okay, yeah. So there you go.
Yeah,
These
it's a 5-hour flight.
That's
what you're thinking of. It's a 5-hour.
Very well traveled individual.
5-hour flight from California.
Yeah.
Oh, to Hawaii. Yeah,
but it is a time difference.
All right, before we completely lose track of this show,
wow.
The other thing I want to talk about, equipment releases. It's equipment release season. If you guys aren't already, make sure you check out golficity.com. Our guys, our crew of writers have been doing just an incredible job staying on top of all these leaks.
Yeah, the equipment nerds, we call them, and for a good reason. They love it.
They
awesome. Geek out over it.
I'll tell you what, even one to follow is Eric Benzenberg, and his IG is Hazel Rocket. He is on it, man. He's looking at that USGA conforming list and just waiting for things to drop. He's just and he's right on top of it. So we've got a ton of new stuff from Callaway that's just been hitting in the last couple of days. Some new driver speculation. I believe even a new ball, right? Like an updated, refreshed version of the Chrome.
Yeah, three new Chrome Soft.
So there you go. So I mean, a lot there. And then another thing that made noise yesterday. Again, you get the tour validation first. So the first time we see like non-leaked official eyes on equipment is that tour validation process, and that's when the players get the clubs obviously before it's released to the public. So we saw the Vokey SM9s,
yes,
in play in some of the practice rounds. There's a picture that one.
The designs
came from
are beautiful as always. From the 7s, we had the SM7s, then we jumped to the 8s, and I'm sure we're gonna get our hands on these this year.
Yeah,
I noticed they're catching a lot of flack. People are saying that they look the same, but like I'm so against that. I mean, how can you judge something, especially a club, on how it looks without hitting it,
or even getting into if the knock is that it looks too similar to the last year's version, I'm more so of the mindset that if it looks dramatically different, it makes you wonder why? What was wrong with the last one that it had to be?
I'd almost
changed?
would rather it look kind of similar, but just perform a little bit better.
But also, it's got to stay on brand. At the end of the day, Vokey, Titleist brand. You and I we're big Titleist guys. Everybody who listens to the show knows that. But one thing I like about Titleist is the simplicity, the clean lines. I think that's what a lot of people come to Titleist for. They want that. Really think about it. I mean, you don't. What often gets labeled the sexiest is not the flashiest. It's usually just the most streamlined blades that are just So that's the first thing. But the second thing, I think, what I like is the emphasis on creating it as a very clean. As far as look goes, remember, none of this has anything to do with what's actually under the hood, which we're going to learn more and more about as far as what changes that they made for performance and turf interaction. We're going to learn more about that as more information comes out about the club. Yeah. But as far as look goes, I like it as a clean palette because we're seeing customization in the form of stamping becoming such a huge thing.
Yeah. And
I like that they give you that huge flat surface there, just that you can stamp it. Here's an example: stamped, Max. That's got to be Homas.
Yeah.
That's got to be.
Yeah, I see it there.
It's Homas.
Yeah. So and we see our guy Aaron Dill on tour doing incredible things with that spacing, and it's just so cool. It's just such the uniqueness and the stories and stuff like that. But even for us as regular guys, we can customize it. We can stamp it with different things. So I like leaving that part just kind of fresh. I like a fresh, clean look. But I think we're going to discover there's a lot more under the hood. We had the opportunity going back now 2 years ago to talk with Bob Vokey right here on the show.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And I was just incredible to learn the process that goes into refreshing these wedges, the SM7s and the SM8s and the SM9s. And so much of that is just, it's not these big dramatic jumps. It's put something out, learn from the feedback that you're getting from the players, and then adapt to it and provide. It's not like all of a sudden this revolution in completely different design.
Yeah.
We're not throwing decades of Bob's experience out the window. I think the better way to do it is these small little increments, just a little bit better year over year.
I dig it,
better
man.
materials, better design.
I mean, I'd love to get Bob back on the show and talk to him, because I remember when we did that interview, we were in the PGA show Titleist booth at the show.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the questions, probably the first question you asked was, all right, you had with so much success in the 7, what did you do to make the 8s better?
Right.
And it's kind of, I'd love to ask him the same thing, but I'd also.
We will, mark my words, we'll get someone on the show to talk about
Aaron or someone else, but I'd love to get a tour pro on the show to talk about their experience. We had Troy Merritt, who was talking about his new irons. He's made a hole-in-one with the brand new T-Series.
Yeah.
And just want to gauge, because I'd love to gauge. Those are the guys who are using this thing every day, and they're looking for things like spin and height and flight and all that stuff. And I'd love to get their perception. We're not like them. We don't play like them, but I'd love to hear it from them.
I just think what's so interesting is that they know the more that they give as far as feedback, the more they get back. And that's why I think that they're so involved in that process, because if they want something on their wish list, I wish, the club would do this a little bit differently or whatever it may be. They give that feedback, and then they just, hope that it comes back their way. And when they do, they love it.
They do.
Yeah. So we saw that for sure.
By the way, on Kapalua, I forgot to tell you before, I love my 2K1. When I get that quiet moment, whether it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, no one's awake yet, and I play this on Xbox, you can play 18 holes in like 17 minutes, because it's just you just play, you hold down the Y, it goes really fast. I shot a 54 at Kapalua. It's like against the computer with the offsides off.
Course record 54 at Kapalua.
I always try to break the course record of these games. I think at Innisbrook I shot a 57. I got to push myself back to the
Maybe
tips.
You do. Yeah. Maybe it's time to move back. I'll tell you what, though. If you think, you get lost in that, playing Xbox or whatever it may be, just wait. Because I pulled the trigger and went and picked out one of those Oculus.
Yeah, you did it, didn't
Quests,
you?
You know what I mean? Because I'm like, I gotta see what's where this thing is going, get an idea of it, because I think more and more we're going to start to move a lot of our entertainment and other experiences into VR, right?
Sure.
So I wanted to see that, but more so like, having kids at home, I'm like, this could be a cool interaction for them. Right. It's a little bit, in my view, as far as for the body, it's a little bit better than just sitting on the couch, because now like I have my daughter using it and they're moving around. And
hey, I'll tell you, the boxing game is one of the most intense workouts I've ever done. Heart rate wise.
Yes. However, I did it the other day and I kind of lost track of where I was, and I was not following the directions, because it is very smart. This one actually has cameras on it.
Okay.
So it tells you the zone, the safe zone. You lay it out, and if you get outside of it, it turns the cameras on, and now you can see.
Oh.
So you're not just in there.
That's pretty cool.
But I moved too quick, and I punched
oh no.
I punched a stack of plates.
Did you break them?
But luckily they didn't break. I don't know what these things are made of, because I think they were like the kids, like the shatterproof. You know what I mean?
Here's a guy I want to fight in the ring, definitely.
Yeah, because you can't break plates. But like kids' plates that are like that plastic, but they're made to feel like they're real.
Good. Yeah.
They just make a lot of noise when they all go flying. And my daughters are like, "Are you okay?" Like, yeah, Dad's just playing video games.
Yeah, you just play video games.
But
how's the golf game?
But okay, so that's what I got to tell you about. So there's 2 big ones on there. I downloaded just the first one. It's called like Golf Plus, whatever, and it's they do it in collaboration with Top Golf and I think Golf Television, whatever it may be. There's some big names involved in this thing. And I'll tell you the truth, obviously, like any type of new tech, it's got some ways to go. But right off the bat, I was really impressed. It did not feel as fake as I thought it would.
No, you're not swinging a club.
You are. You're playing golf.
But are you swinging a club?
Yeah. No, I swing the controller.
Okay.
So what does feel a little bit weird, and I will be honest, at some point I was like, I don't want this messing up my real swing.
Right.
Because I'm in there and I'm trying, like, I'm slicing the ball, and I'm like, I never slice the ball, and I'm trying to like turn my hands over and adapt. I'm like, just don't do this in real life. Just treat it as a game, Frank, and just because one thing that I will say that is dramatically different is try just sometime just swinging like full speed, but with no club in your hands.
It's hard.
It's hard. It feels totally different because you're used to the weight of the club. We had an instructor tell us recently, a club, let's say it weighs a pound, it feels a heck of a lot more with that centrifugal force as you, whatever. So having nothing in your hands, it kind of feels weird, and it feels a little bit awkward and out of place. But as far as the experience in the goggles and the feedback from this thing in your hand, it's wild. Like, it even has some haptic feedback. So like, even when you can feel it, and the sound, there's so much that is involved in the sound. The sound makes you feel like you're feeling it. Like, you'll hear the thud of hitting the grass.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So anyway, so it starts you off.
Feel it? Will it vibrate like you're digging?
It does. You feel it a little bit. Like, it's not a vibration, but it's more of like almost like a knock. Okay. Like you feel in your hands.
Got it.
You can feel like hitting the golf ball.
It's brilliant.
Right? But what I'm saying is so crazy about it is that, yes, it's got a little ways to go, but even I can already tell if it's like a heel hit or a toe hit.
VR, that's nuts.
And I understand that that's the combined experience of sound, visual, haptic feedback. They're putting all those things together. I get that. But so I start off on the range. And it's just a beautiful range. First of all, like this is gonna like fix my seasonal affective disorder, right? Yeah. Like I hate how the weather right now, how cold and it's just gray outside. You go in this thing, it's the perfect time of the day. It's twilight golf. You look around, it's gorgeous, right? But I'm on the range, just hitting some golf balls. There's a nice fireplace cooking next to me.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I can get lost in this for a while. So I'm just taking some cuts, working through the bag, and then you actually go out and play, and it comes with 3 courses. And it's kind of cool. Like you tee it off, you hit the ball, and then you move to your next shot,
right? And
you move around. And I'll tell you what really does feel the most realistic is the putting.
Really? That's what I was going to ask next.
So you have you put it down. It's got like a fake Scotty in your hands, right? And then you look down, and like actually you can feel it. Like when trying to get your spatial awareness when it taps the ground, you feel it. So oh, there it is.
That's awesome.
And you just putt. What, Zach? Did you have something?
No, he was waving at me. Oh. I don't know why he was waving.
I was telling Mike to get closer to the.
Oh, okay.
That's just doing his producer job. So, but does it? Well, I was going to ask you about your club selection. Like, do you select the club?
Yes.
Like so you could pick. You could play through the bag.
You play right through the bag. You change you can change your shot.
How much
was it? No, I was kind of impressed with. I didn't go with like the big version with all this crazy memory.
I mean, how much?
No, they're all the same. These Oculus 2 Quest, it's called. The only difference in price, the big boy just has big memory because you store the games in it.
Sure.
So I got the baseline one. I'm like, I'm not going crazy with this. It was $299.
Okay.
Can you just put a memory card in?
No, it didn't have a spot for memory cards. You can't, as far as I see, you can't expand it. But then from there, where the spend happens, no doubt that some of that price is supplemented by they just want you in the ecosystem, so you start buying games.
Right, of course.
That's what you start doing.
Of course.
And then all of a sudden, this starts to rack up because you're like, that's cool. You start buying games. These games, they're not like crazy like when we used to buy like the Xbox games being like $50, $60. These are like $15.
Okay.
But it quickly adds up.
Yeah,
you want a couple different games, it quickly adds up.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, make a long story short, it's got a ways to go, but it is, if you need a little bit of that relief of just feeling like you're playing golf again, even if just for like a very casual, you can't take it too seriously. It will mess you up because it's just like, it's not exactly the same as your regular swing. Yeah. But it just tells me the writing's on the wall. The future's out there. Mm-hmm. Somebody needs to design a controller that feels like a real club, and we're getting there.
A controller that clips onto a real club.
Clips on, does something like that, where it feels a little bit more like actual impact. They're going to put a little bit more time into like.
Wii Golf did that. I think Wii Golf came out with a fake
they had like
golf
a little
club
fake
that
club.
You could put the controller in, but it's still not a.
Let's put it this way: this is miles and miles and miles above like Wii Golf.
Of course. Yeah,
so,
we're way above.
But you're out there, you're playing golf in a virtual space. I got to be honest with you, I'm going to keep testing. I've only had it for a couple of days, but it was incredible.
We're going to shoot all our vlogs like that going forward.
That's it.
VR.
And that's the other thing. It's like there's a multiplayer. So like if you get one right now, you and I could be just playing golf.
We do a whole podcast. We're just these things on.
And that, yeah. But how wild is that? Like you can be playing golf with your buddy wherever they are. You know what I mean?
Super cool. So, and that goes probably all the games. Like I could box against you.
There's a lot of ones like that. Cool. So I like I said, it is by no means perfect. The kinks aren't all worked out yet, but it just shows me that we're going places with this. Mm-hmm. You know, this is going to be. I had my wife put on. She doesn't even golf. She's like, oh, I just want to hang out here.
I know,
because it's just like beautiful. She's looking around, the sun's setting. You're out on the golf course. Right. You're like, what do you want?
I know.
So, did you get any like vertigo or any nausea or anything like that? Because I know a lot of people when they put VR on, like when they put the headsets on, they just puke.
No, my father-in-law brought one over like 2 Christmases ago. It was one of the older versions, and I put it on, and I felt weird at first. But then this one, I don't know what it was. I think it's because it's a little more spatially aware. Like I said, it sets out this circle around you of where your safe area is, and the second you like move out of that, all the cameras come on. Because that's cameras on the outside, and you can see like you don't have goggles on.
It's smart,
and it changed. But I'll tell you what,
throughway or something.
Speaking of which, you told me to watch 14 Peaks the other day, and I watched that thing. So they have on there, they have immersive movies. So there's one on climbing Everest, and all of a sudden I'm on top of Everest with this thing on,
just sweating.
It is nuts. There is actually you and me after our experience at Stadium Links, which was a disaster of a golf experience for us because we were so afraid of heights.
Yep.
They have on there they have like series they can walk you through to help you get rid of your fear of heights, because you feel like they take you to different heights.
Yeah,
you move around.
I got to check this out.
You got to check this out. I'm going to bring it in on Friday for you to see, because you got to experience this thing firsthand.
Okay.
It's just wild.
See, stuff like that, I personally can't do because I just know it's fake. Like the height stuff for
I'm
me,
telling you, no
like,
way.
If I put the
Not
VR on, I've put it on before, and like I'll just like walk over the ledge. Like it doesn't really.
If one of those videos comes through my feed on social media of like a person like who's jumping on these ledges with a GoPro on, and they're just casually jumping, I have to flip through it.
The
I
parkour?
get these like
yeah.
I get these like chills down my spine.
Like the crazy Russian videos where they're like running on rooftops.
They're running on rooftops, these guys. And I'm like, no. I saw a guy jump out of a plane the other day without a parachute.
Look,
Sorry,
it's not. So what I would say is, if you think that's crazy, get it in one of these, because they film these things in 360, and now you're there with them and you can look around. Like I was on the side of this mountain with these guys climbing, and I'm like looking around, looking down. You look up, there's a guy above you. Look down, there's a guy below you.
You just stand there. You're not climbing.
No, you just stand stationary, but you're just like, this is not. But I tell you what, it just shows you where it's going. Anyway,
Frank's just walking up and down his stairs until he hits Everest.
Punching plates.
I just call it
until before this becomes the VR show.
Yeah.
A couple things. One thing, this has been sitting here the whole time. I got to mention this. So, talk about goals. Last year, and Will is a name we mention here often. Will Selman, Dr. Will Selman. He's been with us since, he actually mentions it in here.
What episode?
He's seen every episode.
Yeah.
But he mentions in here, let's see, he jumped in at episode 12.
There it is.
So he's been listening to the show, and he's always kind enough to send us stuff for little milestones. So last year we kicked off our goals episode by showing he had sent us both lefty clubs. We each got a 7-iron.
Mm-hmm.
And Will is the team physician here at Golficity. He always helps us out when something's wrong. I've had major back issues and things like that. He's just the first one there to hop on a call with me, help me, guide me through who I need to see, whatever it may be. Just Will, not only as a doctor, but as a friend, he's invaluable, and we absolutely love his participation in the show. So this year he sent us a whole nice handwritten note, and he sent us each a glove for our right hand. So you've got yours right there. Mine says, to Frank, stay limber, from the Golficity Medical Division.
I love it.
So this is for our right-handed glove for us to swing our lefty club.
I love it.
I thought it was
Zach thought it was
to
the
wear
other way.
two gloves like I was.
Yes, in your lesson when you had it on the wrong one. So Will, thank you so much.
Wait,
and he says, here's to a big party at episode 500, which will be here before we know it.
It will be. And Zach, throw that camera on me for a second. He puts the no 811 on the glove there, which means that I take huge divots. Love it.
And Will, it's super appreciated too, because especially these past 2 years with COVID, he has had his hands so full. He's been so busy, and he even mentions in his note that some of it has been just vicariously living through us, watching some of the videos of us playing, because he's been too busy to get out there.
Too busy fighting the fight. And I remember right when the pandemic began, I remember that one photo he sent us, and he's in his white scrubs with the Golficity sticker on, all masked up.
Yep. But I mean, Will, and hats off to all of our healthcare workers who've been just wading through this nightmare for the last 2 years. I know it's coming. We're going to get through this. We're going to get on the other side of it. And a lot of you are going to get back out on the golf course, and you deserve it. I think every healthcare worker should play free golf for the entire year after this pandemic is over. Because you all deserve it. That's for sure. Anyway, before we do a word from our sponsors, then we're going to jump into this week's, talking about the goals ourselves. The other thing I got to say here is Mike, the Texas wedge champ, right? So did you see this video? It was circulating. Every time I see one of these videos, I just immediately tag Mike in the comments.
It's either a divot one or oh yeah, look at that. Wow.
This guy is got to be 70 yards out.
I see your comment there.
Yeah, it says tag that one friend's Texas wedge from anywhere.
That's me, man, and I would have hit it there.
But what's so wild about this is that pin was protected by that green size bunker. He went around it.
That's the best part.
So I got to ask you, what's the thinking? Why go Texas wedge so often?
I guess it's the question.
And when did it start? Did this start?
Pinehurst.
No, wait, it goes further back. Didn't this start in Scotland?
Were we putting deep in Scotland?
Well, we definitely were. I put one from 70 yards.
I remember
Scotland.
that. Yeah.
I mean, when in Rome.
I honestly don't think it was really Scotland. I think it was Pinehurst, because they were telling us how the wedges aren't going to dig here.
Yeah.
You're best off. I remember the caddy.
Well,
the guy number 4 said it right when you got there.
Well, didn't Kamer win the Open there, the U.S. Open there, and without ever hitting a chip shot?
Probably. It sounds right.
I think that was the story, was that he putt from off the green every time.
That's what he said.
I just remember somebody at Pinehurst, like,
it was the starter.
Within the first 20 minutes.
Vince?
V. He said the words Texas wedge, and we all looked at each other and we're like, that's the greatest thing we've ever heard.
If you're off the green, use a putter. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And from that point, I just listened to that guy and I did it on like every single shot.
But now, why did it carry home? So what? You just have a comfort level?
I had a comfort level. I was playing really well with it. I remember that one on Pinehurst number 2 where he made Pinehurst which one? Zach's telling me 4.
You had a huge one on 4.
4 was with V. V was the starter for 4.
I had a huge one on 4, but I'm clearly remembering the one where the caddy, Chris, at the end was like, hey, where'd you learn that one from? Texas
That's 2. Chris, we had 2.
And I had it. I put it like to within 3 feet, and I ended up making the putt. Oh. And it was like a 40 yard out or something like that.
Because I just see the wheels spinning in Mike's head. Like anytime, if he's off the green on some sort of tight lie, he's got the putter in his hand and he's got a wedge in the other hand, and he's just thinking.
I assess the situation. If I have a window, an opportunity to roll it up, the confidence level goes through the roof with the putter. That's all.
But I mean, I'm not knocking this because it goes back to what we said earlier. It's like being adaptive, and it's not. I mean, sometimes we think there's too often we think there's like one way to play this game, but golf, was. For years too, it was largely played as a ground game, a lot more.
Yeah, true enough.
You know what I mean?
Especially in Scotland with the hard ground.
Yes, exactly.
So yeah, you're right. Play your game, whatever works, right?
I think it's just got to be within that limit that you still. And I've heard you saying it out there many times. I mean, especially editing these videos and going back through them, where you're kind of lamenting, like, I'm going to learn that wedge. Like, you want to have it where you can hit the wedge or the putter. And it's got to be, the decision is based on what you think is going to be the better play, not because I'm hitting this shot because I don't know how to hit the other. Right. I've heard you a couple times say, like, I don't, which is such a conundrum to me because you're so deadly with the 60.
I'm deadly with the 60. I feel with
just not from tight lies.
Not from tight lies because I dig too much.
You know what? Then it's going to be really interesting reassessing that. Speaking of the SM9s, inevitably we're going to go get fit for the SM9s. Is to say, is that a bounce and grind situation?
It could be.
Like, could you be even better fit into a? Not saying you've had bad fittings before. A lot of fittings and the benefit you get out of a fitting is what we give to the fitter, telling them what types of shots. We still have to tell them what shots we're playing. Now, after another full year and having all that new knowledge of the types of shots you've been playing, you can say, hey, I'm playing a lot of these tight lie shots from XYZ, and I'm finding that I can't with the 60. Is there a bounce or grind that I can switch to?
It's a good move.
I wonder.
All right.
We'll see. We'll find out. All right, let's do a quick word from our sponsor, and then we're gonna talk about recapping where we landed with the goals we set for ourselves last year and what goals we have set for ourselves in 2022. And we're going to dive into some of your goals from the Golficity Clubhouse on Leveler, which if you're not already a part of, make sure you guys join up there. It's a really fun community. We've been chatting in there throughout the whole holidays, and we'll have all the links in the show notes, but you can go to golficity.com/clubhouse to join, and you can get a free trial. And after that, it's like the cost of a cup of coffee.
That's it.
To be in the group. All right, let's do a quick word from our sponsors, then we'll hop into it. The evolution of the T-Series advances Titleist even further in their mission to produce the best irons in the world. New materials, new processes, and new refinements power new precision that must be played to believe. We got fit for the new T-Series, and in fact, just this week on the main channel, we're going to have my What's in the Bag, where I really dig into why I am loving these clubs. It's one of the most excited I've been for new equipment heading into the new year in 2022 and gaming that full set of the new Titleist T200s. Just the turf interaction feels amazing. I love the forgiveness, and I talk about this in my What's in the Bag. I have countless now, just over the last 3-4 months of gaming these, I have countless spots and shots that I can remember going back to where I didn't quite catch it exactly what I wanted, and I still got the performance I needed. I had a shot on a par 3 where I just caught it a little bit outside that sweet spot towards the toe, and it could have been a disaster, but still was able to make it on the green. The forgiveness just feels great. The turf interaction feels great, but what feels the best is just the fact that it's just so fit specifically for my game, and that's what I love about this series. You have the T100s, T100S, T200s, T300s. There is something in there for everyone, and they're really designed to work well together so you can mix and match. So it's not just one set for one person. In a good fitting, you may dial it in and have a mixed bag and combo set, and what it really comes down to is just getting that performance all the way through that whole set, and it's just so much there to experience. So you really need to experience it on your own. Each model is an instrument of exacting performance passed from Titleist R&D and Tour Pros right to you. The new Titleist T-Series, precision made, precision played. Find out more at Titleist.com.
And let's hope you bring some of that forgiveness with you today, because you're going to need it. I'm gunning for you. I'm gunning for you, man.
Yeah.
And speaking of cold, make every day playable. We keep talking about it. We are playing golf until it snows, because that's when we physically have to stop.
We'd play in the snow if they'd let us.
If they'd let us. But they don't let us. And it's going to be cold out there. It's going to be in the 20s today, and we're going to layer up. We always just layer up, and then we delayer as we warm up out there. I want to highlight a couple of the awesome pieces of apparel coming from FootJoy, especially the one that I'm currently wearing. This one right here, it is called the Tech Sweater, and I love it because it's got this soft material on the outside with this kind of this wind, that covers it here to provide that extra layer. Super, classy looking. I wear this out sometimes, which is jeans, when I go out to dinner even. It's just got a classy look to it. It comes in 3 colors, black and gray. This is that navy and light heather that I have on. And then they have this teal blue with dark navy sleeves, which is very, very cool looking. And check this out, Frank. I noticed on their website, they've got their stuff there for the U.S. Open, the Brookline hoodies, the Country Club of Brookline.
That's the stuff you got to grab
cool
quick.
Stuff. You got to grab it.
It sells out. And in the limited edition stuff, like we were talking about the Hawaii stuff before, I get so many DMs. Where'd you get that hat? And I feel terrible directing people like, go check out FootJoy, but I'm sorry, it's sold out by now.
It is. It does move quick.
I just hop on it whenever something I like is there.
So definitely check that out. And look at this thermal base layer right here with the FJ logo. This is my thermal today. This is part of my layering process. And of course, I've got my winter gloves today in the bag, and my hoodie and all this stuff that FootJoy offers. Go check them out at footjoy.com and make sure that you make every day playable.
All right, guys, so we're going to talk about goals, and this is something, if you're newer to the show, this is our annual thing. We do this every year. We've talked about it before. We've said how we truly believe that setting these smaller goals will lead to those bigger accomplishments. So we like to set a few broad goals. We like to also set a few specific goals, and then it's accountability. We check back on it at the end of the year and see if we were able to hit those points. And we've seen this at the highest level. Justin Thomas, right? A couple of years ago, he started doing this and showing notes on his phone of all his different goals. Now, granted, his goals are quite a bit loftier than ours, like win another major, or reach world number
add that
one
this year.
Yeah, put that on your list. Why not? Throw it in there. But I genuinely believe that this is something that can really help newer golfers, such as, we're amateur golfers. We've slowly, year over year, we're whittling away at those handicaps. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Dabbling with getting into those single digits, getting closer and closer. But again, it's more of a marathon than a sprint. You've got to set these things, and then as you set these goals and slowly start to check them off, you'd be surprised at how it translates to the bigger goals, like the score. I think too many of us, we have one goal in mind. It's the score. I just want to break 90, whatever it may be. And then you don't realize what are the little building blocks that get you there.
Those stepping stone goals.
Exactly. So we go through them. So let's run through ours. We'll put our cards on the table, full accountability. Talk about if we hit last year's goals. We'll set some new goals that we're gonna see how this year plays out. Work hard towards them, and we will hold ourselves accountable at the end of this year to see if we hit them.
I love it.
And then we'll dive into some of the other goals, and then we'll do some little lightning round. Got a little fun lightning round. I see you
we did it. We did it
us.
last time in January. It was called Last Year, This Year.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll come back to that. That's a fun one. So. I guess we'll just talk about last year, see if we did it, and then after that we'll go into what we hope to do for this year. So for me, one of my main goals in 2021, which was also a huge goal in 2020, was to learn how to hit up on the ball and turn my shots as a righty right to left and create that draw.
And we're talking about with driver for hit up.
With driver, of course.
So we don't confuse some of our newer listeners. Yeah.
Yes. So I wanted to do that with driver, and I tried, and it shows you. It took longer than a year. So I made it a goal again because I just wasn't there at the end of 2020. So 2021, I worked with Brad Worthington. I worked with a lot of coaches to try to learn how to turn that ball. And sure enough, I did it. It is becoming more consistent. I know how to do it. I feel like I've accomplished that goal.
Right.
But now I have to continue to keep working on it.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm there. I know how to do it now. I'm not lost anymore. So I feel like goal accomplished.
I love it. And what I love too is like, people, I love people hold us accountable too, and that helps make us better golfers. And I read it in the comments a lot. There are people who are saying like, how many times is Mike going to get this lesson?
Exactly.
Right? That's the reality of it, is that sometimes it takes a bit to click. You know what I mean? Like, I think you got to understand, like, golf is a difficult sport. We've always said this. One lesson is not going to be the one that that's it. From here forward, it's fixed.
Right.
It takes work on your part. And sometimes, like anything, you have to work with a couple different coaches, and different coaches can phrase effectively the same thing in different ways.
Bingo. And that's what happened to me.
Right. And it's just like sometimes we all learn in different ways.
That's it.
So one person might tell you one thing and it just doesn't click, and then, you know what I mean? Like, I have 4 different people teach me how to paint the proper way to paint this wall.
Right.
And it might just be one guy who shows me, like, it just jives with my thinking, and I get it. And I think that's what you had with Brad.
That's what I had with Brad. He took out the Dr. Scholl's. He sprayed it to show where I was.
Shows you're a visual learner.
Visual learner, yeah.
Because you wanted to see it on the face.
Instant feedback, and he told me to move that ball towards the toe. I was hitting it on the low heel. I wanted it to be high toe, so I can hit it up and turn it right to left. And the instant feedback from the Dr. Scholl's, as well as just backing off the ball a little bit. I was standing too close, and then teeing it up and tilting. So, like, the way Brad put it together, it just clicked.
Yeah. That's what it takes sometimes. And that's why I would say don't get discouraged if something's not working for you 1, 2 lessons. And don't be afraid to push yourself towards trying different coaches. You see, we work with lots of different coaches. Sometimes we find one that really clicks well with us, like working with Kevin Sprecher. He's done a lot for helping our game. Or working with Brad. We've come back to Brad quite a few times. And I think Ryan Hager's working his way in there. We had an incredible playing lesson with him, and now we're going to do some more work with him. But I think sometimes, not to say it's a good coach or a bad coach, it's just sometimes different personalities, different learning styles, they click or they don't.
That's absolutely
so. Get out and try another coach, and if you need to, and just experiment with it and see if it changes for you.
It is true, because that is exactly what happened to me. The other thing, I wanted to design and implement a consistent pre-shot routine. I feel like I did succeed there. I mean, it all goes part of what I just talked about, setting up the feet right, my pre-swing thoughts, the way that I do my little tilt with the driver. Even when I'm standing over the ball in the fairway, even when I'm standing over a putt, I try to implement that same thing. I have sometimes a little song I want to sing in my head to kind of keep rhythm and tempo together, just a little hum or something. So I'll check that one off. The big thing for me was to get back in shape in 2021. I feel like I failed there. I gave up my gym membership due to COVID.
It was a hard year for that.
It was really hard. And, just trying to do it at home. This was the first time in over 20 years that I didn't have a gym to go to, and I had to rely on working out at home. So I feel like I failed, but I feel like now I'm going to make it my top priority as my main goal. Not to jump ahead, but my main goal is to maintain top shelf health and fitness 365.
Yeah.
Next year.
We saw it pay off. Last week we had Rob Labritz on the show.
Yeah.
Here's a guy at 50, is at
top
peak
of his game
performance, and he just showed the emphasis that he's put on fitness to get where he's at right now.
Yeah. And one of those things that it goes with it is keeping my mind in shape, maybe turning off social media a little bit, keeping the phone in another room for a little bit, just trying to being clear, maybe meditating a little bit more, maybe trying to just clear the mind and things like that. So that's something I failed at, and hopefully it comes this year. Stats wise, I mean, I wanted to, have more greens in regulation. I was pretty much consistent. There was no huge change there for me.
Okay.
Golf-wise, stats-wise, I remember saying that I want to hit more greens. I was pretty much consistent there, so I know I still have to work on that. It wasn't really a fail or a succeed. I didn't go backwards, but I didn't really improve.
Yeah.
So got to work with a coach there on learning how to hit more greens in regulation. The other one, this is funny, play a U.S. Open course. Nailed it.
Yeah,
Pinehurst number 2.
Yeah.
That was great. And more friendly rounds. We definitely did that. We played with Greg at Coakley. We did 2 rounds with Pete over at Manhattan Woods.
Yep.
We've had 3 rounds with Pete.
Well, 2 in this year.
2 this year.
Yeah.
That's right. And we've also had a couple of other rounds with friends I just can't even think about.
You had Somerset, right?
I had Somerset with some buddies at work.
Yeah.
That's cool. And we're just forgetting some.
And that is no doubt one of our big goals, just even for what we do with the main channel and stuff like that, is getting more involved and back with having more people involved. Right. So like one big thing was, and a lot of people request, like I'll play around with subscribers and stuff like that. And we started to get the wheels in motion to do a little bit more of that and line that up. And then COVID kind of shut it down. But now as we're getting a little bit better and being able to do that, I think we're going to open that up. And we also want to introduce more of the type of personalities that we like to play rounds of golf with.
Absolutely.
And get them out there and have some friendly matches. I mean, golf is great as an individual sport, but I think what makes it so much fun is that having a little bit of friendly competition with buddies out there.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. And, with that, and talking about COVID and shutting things down, one of the big things I said on last year's goals episode was being able to get out and travel more because we couldn't in 2020. And sure enough, we went to Pinehurst. We also went to the Jersey Shore Tour. Yeah. We did Vermont. We were able to get back on the road, even though some of the trips were drivable. But I think this year it's going to be even bigger and better. And we're going to be traveling, flying more to more nicer places, hopefully Whistling Straits.
Good, yeah. Get me out of here because it's freezing cold. It's freezing.
That was my goals last year. I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, give me all check marks but one, not getting in shape.
Hey, I think it's solid. And I think there's certain degrees of like just not getting too down on yourself if you don't hit one of the goals. The goals are there, to keep you sometimes focused. And then if you don't hit it, you like to say, double down on it the next year.
I could have quit on trying to hit up on the ball, but I didn't.
Right. And it's paying off for you.
Now you're more stat focused, I see. Let me see.
Yeah. So really quickly running through 2021 goals. One, I tried to focus on a lot of very specific little goals that would lead to better scoring. Mm-hmm. And I would say is no doubt my scoring improved in 2021. I've knocked another stroke off my handicap. I'm on the door single handicaps. I think I was down last check to 10.3. So like getting really, really close there. I also had 2 rounds this year, sub 80. Mm-hmm. I shot 2 rounds in the 70s, which prior to that, I only had 1 round in the 70s. It was my best score ever was a 77. I tied that this year. So played Architects. Also, Architects was probably my best round of the year. And then what was the other one that we played? Pinchbrook. I played well.
Yeah,
that was a lower score. I think that was a par 70. But I shot a 77 there. So I was really happy with that. I had far fewer of my higher scoring rounds, like in the 90s. I was kind of averaging in the high to mid 80s, and every once in a while really playing well and dipping below. So I'm just starting to see those scores just slowly tick down. And one thing I did, like I said, I want to focus on small goals. So there was 2 that were important to me. And I base this on the Shot Scope medals. I want to earn 2 medals. One was I want to have 8 greens in regulation in 1 round. And the other one is I want to have at least 1 round with no 3 putts. So Zach, if you can bring that up. So there it is. I unlocked both of those. Yep. So
Tobacco Road, 8 greens in regulation.
Tobacco Road, for as difficult as that course was, it was one of my best rounds of the year.
Played well there.
Played really well there.
I still think about your almost hole in one on like the 16th hole or whatever it was.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was just one of those days.
That was me, the 16th. You were on a par 3 that was earlier.
Right, yeah. But no matter what, that's one of those days I'll look back. I'll never forget the combination of playing that course and just its uniqueness, and then playing at the time of day we did, twilight. We finished 18 under the pink supermoon. Remember that? It was wild.
And we didn't know about it.
We didn't even know it was coming. We turned the corner. Like, what is that?
Remember, like, Zach, can you bring the camera?
Everybody put the camera. Yeah. Put the clubs down and grab a camera.
Grab a camera, yeah. Like, you're not going to believe this. So that was wild. But so that, and then if you notice in that graphic, the other one was Architects, which was my other round, which was 77. Remember on that last hole, I was trying to have my best round ever.
You were trying. I'm still remembering that Alistair McKenzie designed par 5 that you went driver like 3-wood to the green, missed the eagle, made birdie like it was nothing.
Yeah.
You were humming that day, man.
That one was my best.
Yeah.
And I did have 1 eagle this year in Vermont.
You did?
So it wasn't just missed opportunity.
The Brattleboro Eagle.
So that's what I said, like focusing on, I'm not saying like, I was trying to get very hyper specific. I just wanted 8, prior to that, my best was 7 greens in regulation in 1 round. I wanted 8. You know what I mean? Just like get a little bit better. The other thing was I want to put a strong focus on my short game last year, especially chipping. I did, although I still have a long way to go on that. Chipping is still one of my toughest parts of my game. I've been working on a more simplified chipping stroke. Talk about the 3-club challenge, trying to chip with some other clubs, trying different things. I've got work to do, as you were saying with the fitness. Still work to do there, no doubt about it. But just getting that benefit of being able to do that. And the other thing was I had to just set a general motto for myself last year, was just to keep the ball in play smarter golf.
I love it. Yeah.
And I definitely did that in a lot of ways. And there was areas where I failed. There's no doubt there's areas where I pulled out or tried to pull off a shot that I maybe shouldn't have. We're all going to make mistakes, but by just keeping that general motto in my mind and just saying, hey, that's one of my goals this year, it just gave me something to lean on and play a little bit more conservatively.
One of the things I noticed about your game that did improve this year was putting. And I don't know if that's something you worked on or tried to, or it just happened. Yeah. Okay.
It's a big time working, but it's another one of those uphill battles. Yep. So leads just perfect segue. 2022 goals. I just put here putting, putting.
There
It should be all my goals, putting.
Right.
Because the reality is I'm getting to a point, I feel like, in my game where I'm getting around well enough that I can, if I don't get my green in regulation, I can be close on almost every hole. Sure, there's going to be your disaster holes here and there. Put a tee shot OB or whatever it may be. But I'm even thinking back at our recent round at Coakley-Rousseau or wherever it may be. I'm on a par 4. I'm usually somewhere around the green in 2. On a par 5, I am somewhere around the green in 3.
Right.
I am there for a scoring opportunity, right? However, what happens is I'm wasting a lot of my strokes. Like half of my strokes are coming around chipping and putting or more. I mean, I don't understand.
Is that the next
some of
line? Chipping.
Yeah, chipping, putting. Now, I got to work on the chip, but the putting, like right now, so what I looked at and benchmarking this, according to ShotScope, my average putts per round in 2021 was 34.3. Again, an improvement, better, but still room that it can get a little bit better. And this is where I think the lowest hanging fruit to get to that single digit. It's not that I need to make a huge swing change at this point. I can rely on that part of the game that can always get better. But if I can if I'm somewhere in a scoring position on almost every hole, and I can just start turning some of those 2 putts into 1 putts, because I feel like right now I'm just happy with 2 putts. I was just trying to avoid 3 putts because that's where my putting was at. But now, a couple of those 12 footers start to drop, things like that. I think it can be.
I mean, you're less than 2 putts a hole with 34.
Right. So it's definitely, like I said, it's been an improvement, but there's just been a lot of areas where it's been left on the table.
Big time,
left
for sure.
on the table. The other one, I want to do one or the other here. I want to either make 2 consecutive birdies or 5 consecutive pars. So I look back at my stats in ShotScope. All of 2021, I didn't make any back-to-back birdies.
Right. Never done that myself.
And my best par streak was 4, and then it gets broken. And sometimes I may have another par streak in the day. But what this proves, I believe, is that it's less of an outlier. It's not like a one-off situation. It's effectively it's a quantifying you're playing more consistent golf at that point.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, it's not a fluke. If you can make 2 birdies in a row or 5 pars. So I'm just going to focus on that. And it'll be an added way to kind of practice pressure, which we talk about. So now I've made a birdie. Now it's like, okay, half the battle is not. I got to do it again. It's like we talk about this with game like training, like gamification, like why we love video games, because it's always a level up. It's getting a little bit harder. On this level, you need to do this twice. You did it once on the last level. You got to do it.
Right.
So I got to try to level it up. So that's a big one. And then the other one, again, all of this is focused around the greens and close to the greens. I want to get up and down more often. In 2021, I was able to get up and down 27% of the time.
And it's a key stat as an amateur because we don't hit many greens. You need to up and down.
Exactly. And this is for our new golfers who are listening out there. Up and down means you're somewhere around the green. It means you can get on the green and then get in the hole in 2 shots, up and down. A lot of times, let's say it's a greenside bunker and I'm not getting my proximity close enough that now I've got a 2-putt, right? So it's more so it's focused on tying those 2 areas together, chipping and things around the green, get closer to the hole, and then get better putting and get it in the hole.
Yeah.
Up and down is a savior.
I always laugh about that.
I got to beat that.
The par 3 at Brunsfield, that first round in Scotland, when I duffed my par 3 like 5 feet in front of me in the brush, and I go, I'm going to up and down.
Yeah. Dude, you do that everywhere.
Everywhere.
You did that in Scotland at the first round we played.
That's what I just said.
No, I thought you just said
Brunsfield.
Oh,
you were thinking
wow.
Brattleboro?
I was just thinking Brattleboro.
You were in another
I was
state
in another
the United States.
country.
But I could see
state.
Brunsfield, yeah.
Brattleboro.
But yeah, you were going right where I was at.
I'll never forget that one,
Yep,
though. Yeah,
that was
he
it.
duffs it into the heather. And it's in there. You barely see the ball. I got up and down from there.
I did get it on the green.
Yeah.
But it was a long putt that I missed.
There's nothing else. I mean, it's your optimism is 90% of your score out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
else you got for
the
goals?
The last
and then
one
I'll
I have
keep
here
mine.
for us is a more broader goal. This is a goal just for Golficity in general.
What do you got?
I want to get us to 100,000 YouTube subscribers on the main channel.
I love it.
Which is,
well, you guys can help.
That's a big battle because we're a little more than halfway there. We're just about at 60.
That's right.
Now, usually, the channel, it grows every year, but it's a big jump.
Yeah.
And I think a big way we're going to do that is there's some new and fun things that we're going to do in 2022. And I want to be able to do next year's goals show with the 100,000 subscriber
That's his goal right
thing
there.
hanging right here.
I can't wait. I'll get 100,000 balloons.
You're going to have to help me for that one. That's going to be a shared goal.
It's going to be a shared goal. I'm all in. You know I'm all in. And I think we can get there.
I think we can too.
And guys, if you're not subscribed, you can help us.
Right.
Go subscribe, because we are also going to bring those awesome giveaways like the SM8, that SMA giveaway, SMA giveaway.
SM9s.
We did it for the SM8s, but we're going to do it for the SM9s.
We're going to do the same type of thing.
Where someone can win a full set and all this good stuff. So thanks in advance for getting us there. So I like those goals.
Yeah.
I already gave my big one for 22, which was getting in shape, but there's 3 more I didn't add. Real quick, I want to run through and practice more. I want to dedicate the time to practice more. We are running and gunning. We do a lot of work. We do a lot of video editing, a lot of stuff, and we don't think about practicing the game. We're just always editing the game, and
we think about it. We just don't have time to do it.
Exactly. We just don't have time. So practice more just means finding the time. We're fine. I noticed you hitting the Peloton at 5:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
I see you on there sometimes in the morning. It's just like finding that time in the day for those little areas to do these things. My big goal, my new swing up and turn the ball goal, is to increase my swing speed. Now, I'm going to make a point of this because this is what I'm going to be doing with Ryan Hager in a couple weeks. I do not want to do this at all to try to hit the ball further. I want to do this as a result to perhaps learn how to swing better.
Okay.
So as Hager hopefully takes me through swinging, and that's also going to help me hit up. The end result, of course, is going to be to hit the ball further. Of course, I'm going to be hitting it more powerful.
So you're saying swing speed more so through efficiency than
Correct.
Just raw overpowering.
The power will just come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like I want to work out to be healthy, but I'm also going to get muscles.
Gotcha.
And I'll look.
So
good
you're
on the
saying
beach,
right now, even though you got good swing speed, you feel like you're getting there too much through just like raw, like just like power rather than efficiency.
Yes, it's like a long drive, like oddball. It might slice. Like I want to be more controlled and transfer that power.
Got it.
In a more controlled swing.
Okay.
So that's going to be my number one goal, and I don't know how I'm going to measure it, but maybe just distance. Maybe I'll see a lot more 300-plus yard drives. Maybe that'll be there's because honestly, the 300-yard drive for me is very, very rare. I'll get like 4 or 5 a year. They'll be on the shot squad, 4 or 5 a year, and it's because of something. It was wind, there was downhill. So I want to be more consistent with longer shots so that I could be 30, 40 around and hit more Texas wedges.
Gotcha.
All right?
Yeah, I like it.
And then lastly, I want to get to Kiowa. I'm going to be specific.
Yeah, man.
And I want to get to Whistling Straits this year. I want to go to Kiowa and Whistling Straits in 2022. I don't know. Can we make it happen?
Just that goal alone would be a heck of a year as far as I'm concerned.
Pretty dope.
To play those 2 courses in 1 year.
Yeah, we did Tobacco Road and Pinehurst number 2 in the same day. We could do this in the same year.
That's true. All right, and you got some that from the Golficity Clubhouse who weighed in. By the way, like I said, join by going to golficity.com/clubhouse.
And I love it. I threw this out there to the group. There were so many in there, guys. Thanks so much. We couldn't get to them all, but I'll just run through a couple. Sean Gates, he comes out of the gate, obviously dropped that handicap, working on being able to hit that lovely thing called the draw. I'm sure he's been paying attention to my progress, so check that out. And then Terrence, who we met at the Z-Strict meetup, came out on his birthday. Super cool guy. My main golf goal for next year is to improve my proximity to the hole from 150 and in. I thought that was very specific. Just here, Pete McCann. My goal is bogey golf. Pete's over in Japan. He's an avid listener to the show. I'm leaving total score behind as a goal because I get fixated on it too much, and I love that. Don't worry about it. I mean, someone said the other day, like, don't even keep score. What was that? Someone said something to me the other day.
We were talking about even Rob Labritz, and he's a guy who's playing on the Champions Tour. He's like, I often, he's relying on his caddy and stuff like that. He's not really overly concerning himself with score. He said he's just worrying about each shot.
Yeah. Exactly. Pete was very specific. He said, my driver, I just want to slice less. So he just knows what he's got to work on. And Brandon Davis, another quick one here. He said his main goal, very specific, is 115 swing speed. I'm assuming that's with the driver.
Let me tell you something. Brandon's going to get there because I've been looking at some of his stuff on like Instagram that he posts. He's been working out. He's been working hard. I mean, that you put that work in, you'll get there.
Yeah.
No doubt.
And to just tack on to my goal, I hit 117 with the driver the other day. And if I can see a 120 to 122 swing speed with the driver, or like a or just like a 118 consistent. I had 173 ball speed. I mean, Tiger was at 171 in the PNC. So I mean, if I can consistently be over 170 ball speed with driver, let's go.
Like I said, just make sure you get there the right. And I'm sure working with Ryan Hager, you'll get there the right way.
That's
because
the key.
Otherwise, it's a dangerous pursuit. You don't want that. You don't want that pursuit to turn into an injury.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
But it all comes in with the fitness,
the right
flexibility. It's a whole combination.
All right, let's do our last year, this year, rapid fire. So how are we going to do this? You're going to throw the question out, we'll both answer?
I'll throw it at it. Don't give a long response.
Okay. Just rapid fire.
Yeah. All right. Okay. We're going to start off with this one. I'll let you go first on each of them.
Okay.
All right. Most fun round of the year.
Just like I said before, Tobacco Road. There was so much to experience there, just to take in. We had so much fun, and just the fact that we were playing it right after we played Pinehurst number 2 as a warm up.
Yep, a warm up,
unforgettable. Never forget it.
Okay, for me, it's going to be Pinehurst number 3 because we were so delirious. It was the most fun I think that you and I have had on a golf course in a long time. We were playing so bad. Pete Dye just obliterated us on a 55 or 5,300 yard track that we were laughing at.
Yes.
When we got there, we're like, this would be a joke.
Yep.
Meanwhile, teeth. That's all I got to say.
Mike fell out of the cart that round while he was driving.
Yeah.
He was driving and totally fell right out of the cart.
Because I think we were also like we were just so like euphoric about being at Pinehurst still. It was our first day, really, and it was fun. So
that although I got to ask you, the Cradle though too.
Yeah, I mean,
we had a lot of fun at the Cradle.
There were so many hard to pick from. I mean, playing around with Josh Kelly when he's doing all those trick shots. We played with the veterans, with Coakley, Pete at Manhattan Woods, the last. There was just so many to pick from.
We had that guy at the Cradle hit the ace right behind us.
That was cool.
That was pretty awesome.
Yes, yes.
In the rain.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the Cradle will come into play in some of these next questions. So here we go. Toughest test of golf last year.
For me, that was I could put all of Pinehurst in there, but it was Pinehurst number 2. Yep. Especially, it took me literally a good 5 holes to even just settle in. It's just a different type of golf. And I'll never forget the caddy saying it. And he said, we don't say good shot here until the ball stops rolling. And I learned that real quick. I have never had a round where multiple times I've putt the ball off the green.
Yeah.
I was on the green. You know what I mean? I remember par 3. I remember what hole it was. I'm like, okay, good shot. I'm 20 feet past the hole on the green. I putt it. I think it's going to come somewhere near the hole, and it just never stopped, and it was gone. And on 18, in front of the gallery, I putted off the green.
And then forget about
different world
that
there.
Waste area all the time. Just if you're in it, if you miss a fairway.
Plus, I got attacked by fire.
You got attacked by fire. And so it might have been the worst.
And I still have the scars to prove it.
So that was your toughest test of golf last year. For me, I'm going to go Tobacco Road, but I'm going to put a little spin on it that if I go back and play, actually, let me back up. When I go back and play, because
I got to get back there.
I think now knowing the course, I think it could be a scoreable course. So I think I'll change that perception after, but it did eat me alive. I'm not making excuses. We were exhausted, but I think I was easily, shot in the hundreds that day.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
While on the other hand, you played lights out.
I did. I played well that day.
Next, I'm going to go with best shots of the year. And, to give you a breather, I'll just kick it off. I'm going to say for me, that Tobacco Road 16th hole, almost acing the par 4, for me was like one of my favorite best shots. Best could be something that I hit like a long whatever, and it was a great eagle or something. But that moment, heart pumping, shot specific, that was it.
Yeah.
I thought I got it.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible shot. There's just no doubt about it. And I'd say for me, there's comes a couple that we referenced was the one at Architects where I hit that. I think it was actually a hybrid.
I think it was a
shot
hybrid. It was brilliant. Man.
To like 10 feet, but I did miss the eagle putt. But then after that, going back at it was Bruntsfield, right? Was the first round in Vermont. Some of this stuff blurs together when you're playing this much golf.
Brattleboro. Don't know what Bruntsfield is.
Yeah.
Because now I'm thinking Bruntsfield.
He said Brattleboro before,
Yeah, I got everything backwards.
So Brattleboro in Vermont, our first stop.
Brattleboro, when I did make my eagle, because
it was a long putt.
It was 3 good shots. So I hit that drive. You and me were right next to each other. It's rare that I drive it as far as you do. Perfect position, 6 iron to about 15 feet, and made the putt for eagle. Yeah, I'll never forget that.
And who are you kidding? You've outdriven me many times last year. And we've made
some spots.
Yep.
In some spots.
So the beauty of making good connections. So we have favorite video that we made last year. And go ahead. I mean, this was tough.
Yeah. I mean,
we've done a lot of
we
good
had
ones.
A lot of fun doing that Red Bull video where he jumped out of the plane. I'll definitely say that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, I have a lot of fun when, first of all, Tobacco Road and the back-to-back of doing a number 2 and Tobacco Road in the same day was fun. But I always have fun with those videos that we do at Manhattan Woods with Pete too.
It's just
close friend, Dr. Pete. Well, we laugh. We just have a good time while we're out there, and I want to do more.
Endless inside jokes that are not only relevant from the past or created on that day. That
it was not even by far from the best round of golf. I played. In fact, I watched that back. I played terrible that last round with him.
I watched that video shivering under a blanket.
We played so bad, but that's what it doesn't always matter how you play.
Yeah,
it's being out there, who you're playing with, that type of thing.
Yeah, it goes to show you. Favorite course or club or vibe? I think you already going to answer this with the Cradle, right? I mean,
the vibe at the Cradle was hard to beat.
It's hard to beat.
But I tell you what, the vibe at Tobacco was hard to beat too.
I know.
I don't know. You could tell we enjoyed that trip.
You could tell we got to get back there for sure. What about you, Zach?
But you pull up to Manhattan Woods And Manhattan Woods has got an instant vibe.
It
as
is
soon
a
as
laid
you
back.
pull in, for me,
It's chill.
That's the vibe for me. I got 3 Manhattan Woods hats. You know, I'm a big Manhattan Woods guy at this
For
point.
such an exclusive course, I'm shocked at how awesomely chill that vibe is.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
yeah, and we're probably forgetting about a lot of good vibes that we did this year. I mean, we had some good trips. Favorite new equipment in the bag last year. Now we added 2 new things last year. We added the hybrid and we added the irons
And the 3-wood.
and the 3-wood.
The TS we upgraded to the TSI
We did all 3?
in the hybrid and the 3-wood.
Wow, look at
Yeah.
your memory.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rain
wow.
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 Yeah.
But yeah, wow. Okay, so for me, I'm just gonna. I know you're gonna probably say the same as the irons.
Yeah.
I mean, because that fitting with Andy and just blew my mind. You know.
It did. It for as fortunate as we've been to be through some terrific fittings, to dive into some stuff that I had not even thought of before. I not only just coming out of it with incredible equipment, but also incredible just knowledge and a lesson I'll never forget for every fitting going forward of just certain different ways to think about the irons.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
different ways to think about it.
Absolutely.
Land angles.
We
and
never
stuff like
talked about-
that.
never thought about
Before that, I would buy irons just based on which ones I hit the furthest, and
Yeah, I know exactly.
not realize like
That you don't have to hit
the
'em.
most important thing.
Right.
Yeah. So
Good
yeah.
stuff. All right, 3 more to go here. You kind of touched on the last one, but this next one here, a must-play course that we should film on the channel this year. I've already said Kiowa and probably the Straits course at Whistling Straits. So those would be my 2 must plays this year.
Yeah, I mean, I want desperately to get to Kiowa because I've experienced it, but I want to experience it with you and show you what I enjoyed so much about it. Whistling Straits has constantly been on that list ever since we were teased with playing it right before everything shut down with COVID, without a doubt. But I like these ideas of a little bit off the beaten path, a little more highlighting the hidden gems. I want to do more of that, especially with the main channel. Is the great course, the big name courses, they're great to play, but you can see other people playing. I like
Like Coakley Russo.
Yeah,
that one
like
was built for the
bit
VA.
Of hidden gem, little story behind
Yep.
it. I want to find more courses like that.
I love it. Zach, what about you over there? You're a photographer out there with beautiful nature. Is there one that comes to you that if we can go to? Because I mean, you're taking the visuals.
There's a bunch. I mean, you guys know that I would love to go to Hawaii, and I basically begged you guys to go to Hawaii.
He just took the Kapalua off his calendar because in his mind for a year he was going to this century.
I literally had Tournament of Champions and Century
and
are
Sony.
they different
Yeah.
Sony. Oh yeah.
Well, we'll get out there.
Had those on book,
But probably not
really
22.
wanted to go to those.
Yeah.
But I would say I know there's a really beautiful course near like where the Masters is played
In
at
Augusta, yeah.
Augusta. I think it's
Champions.
called, Champions Retreat.
Yeah, you keep talking about that place.
Yeah.
It does look beautiful,
It looks
and that's the closest we'll ever get to the real Augusta.
Gorgeous.
And we might not even be able to get on that, but
Yeah.
but we'll see.
Oh, you just set him up and shoot his whole
But
goals down?
also,
Yeah, what do you want to play? Yeah, we can't play that. Sorry.
But he's got a connection there. I think.
I think I do. And also,
But we still can't play that.
Coral Creek in Florida, in the Boca Grande area,
Yeah.
is just gorgeous. And one of my family friends used to be the club pro there, so maybe we can get down there. Super pretty Florida,
Yeah, and
if we
Zach,
want to go in
guys,
the winter.
Zach also has a really good connection to Jim Nance, so maybe we'll play some golf with him soon. We're going to talk about that later on.
Same connection.
Same connection. Beautiful.
Good guy to know.
Podcast goal. What guest? I last year it was JT. We had Bubba on this year. For me, I'm going to keep sticking with JT. It's going to be like, hey, JT, I'm going to keep calling you out until you come on the show.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
let's see what happens, man.
I'll tell you, I love having the tour players on. I love talking about like the experiences and stuff like that. But one of the most fun interviews that we've done recently was with Jake Hutt and the founders of Drivebox. I would
Just
love
to hear
to
that story.
Yeah, I like a lot of these kind of grassroots stories, guys similar to ourselves who started something in golf simply out of a passion for it. And I think I want to discover some more of that. So I want to see maybe, as it progresses kind of organically, just see who else might be a good fit for that. I just like the people who are so passionate about it and have just kind of gotten into the game or the game has changed their life in some way.
Yeah, I love that.
You know what I mean? I think that could be a really cool, like a deal in there. He's a guy who's a physician.
Right.
And now he's really big into this amazing
He gave it
idea.
all up just for this passion.
Right. Amazing idea of having these mobile golf simulators. I want to hear more of that.
Yeah, super cool.
Personally, I would really like to get. Totally just forgot. Never mind.
Zach blanked over there.
You work on getting him on the pod.
That's what happens
moving on.
when he's controlling 11 buttons at once. Company goals. You said this before about 100,000 subs on the channel.
He's got it.
Sorry. I would really like to get Josh Kelly on.
Yeah.
Hole-in-one trick shots. We played a really, really fun round with him in Atlantic City, and I think he's just got stories for days, and I think he's got stories that the audience would really enjoy, like his Tiger story.
Yeah, he
is
still gives
amazing.
me chills, his Tiger story.
He's got some good stuff, and he's really blowing up, and hats off to him for a good reason, too.
Well, we can
he's
get
a
him
hustler.
on the show for sure.
Company goals, you said, is the last one. We'll wrap it here. You said you want 100,000. You know what? I was going to do something like, I don't know, sensational, but I think I'm just going to tie mine right to yours and stick with it. We'll make it like a team goal. Let's get this thing over 100,000, because the reason why is because I know all of the sweat equity we pour into those videos.
Yes.
Not only writing them, but then filming them. Look, we're going today in 20-degree weather, guys. Doing them and then editing them and then promoting them. It's pretty much everything we do all day, every day.
Right. And it's not just in a lot of ways, not just a vanity number that I would joke before about having the plaque, but I think what makes it so important to us is the community that's growing around it. Mm-hmm. I think one of my favorite things, as you said, all the work that goes into a video, editing it, filming it around the golf course. It's not easy to film and play. That's the reality. Now having Zach out there with us is a big help. We used to do this all ourselves. So that's big. But I think ultimately why we're so big on those numbers, and that's just a milestone number, but it's growing the community.
Right.
I think one of my favorite things when we drop a video is sitting there and dedicating a little bit of time in the first hour or two to just responding to comments. And just, you guys are so involved in it. You know what I mean? And just like joking and getting in on some of the inside jokes as we're ribbing each other and stuff like that out there. That's why that number is so valuable to me.
Big time.
I love growing that community. And of course, now we've moved the podcast onto its own YouTube channel, which is going to be its own set goals. And we really want to do great things with this channel, but we wanted to make sure that we kept very specific focus for what we're doing. So that's why we moved it off on its own, but the main Golficity channel on YouTube, and I know that's just one place to watch our videos, YouTube, but I like YouTube as a platform because of the aspect of being able to have those comments.
Yeah.
I mean, I love even with the podcast, having the podcast on things like Spotify and iTunes and all that, and you can listen to it while you're driving or whatever. It's great. But why we put so much work into the video piece of it too is because I love that feedback of comments and being able to chat.
Yeah.
So
it's great. It's a great community.
For no doubt, I think that's going to be a fun goal for us to set and really work towards. In 2022.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
Got a big goal ahead of us.
So guys, if you have some of your own goals, and we got to run through some of yours from the Clubhouse, which again, if you're not part of, join it by going to golficity.com/clubhouse. But if you have some of your own goals, post them in the comments. Speaking of which, post them, whether you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube. You can also share them with us in our Facebook group. Or if you're watching this in the Golficity app, there's a spot for comments below. Drop some of your own comments for what your personal goals are. And if you got some feedback on what some goals it should be for us, for either us personally or for the company in the direction of Golficity, let us know. We want to, like I said, that's one of the most fun parts for us is that conversation. Right. So make sure you guys let us know some of your own goals and let us be, some of the first to wish you guys a happy new year, happy 2022. Let's hope this year is the year that we really put COVID behind us.
Yes.
Get out there and play as much golf as possible.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. We'll see everybody again next week.